Did the United States shoot itself in the knees by using the dollar to bully and sanction all countries who wouldn't obey their instructions? Hello and welcome again to the Edge of Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how the BRICS trading system is already wiping out US farmers as global price discovery is destroyed. BRICS, the bloc of emerging economies comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is gaining momentum. The new development bank, which is also known as the BRICS Bank, was set up in 2015 to help fund infrastructure and sustainable development projects, not just in BRICS countries, but in other growing economies too. It is seen as an alternative to big players like the IMF and the World Bank. It is on this platform that millions of tons of annual agricultural trade is now being conducted outside the US dollar and within the new BRICS framework. This represents a tectonic shift in global finance as the dominant trading hubs of New York, Chicago, London, Frankfurt are replaced by a multipolar system of bilateral trades using national currencies and non-USD denominated pricing and contracts. The BRICS organization now has another dozen countries that are either in or on their way in. A major draw for countries that join the BRICS is their development of a new global trading system which is completely independent of the US-led system, which is based on US dollar trading and the SWIFT bank system. The system that is used in Western countries is one which was trade denominated by US dollars and executed by Western banks that has obvious advantages to the US and obvious disadvantages to all other countries. Truth be told, if the world was a fair place, there could be no logical reason why a farmer in Kenya, for example, who is selling cashew nuts to China should use an American bank or the exchange in New York as an intermediary bank to make the deal happen. Neither does any of their parties need US dollars to do such a transaction. But unfortunately, this is how imbalanced it goes. In such a transaction, US banks are paid to convert Chinese yuan into US dollars and then charge Kenya for exchanging USD to shillings, benefiting twice on one transaction when really doing nothing for the transaction. It is slow, it is expensive, it is impartial, but that was the system till now. That system, thanks to the new BRICS financial system, is going away. There is another feature of this arrangement that is also very disadvantageous to operators inside the system, which is price discovery. Decision makers across the world can see the markets. American traders can see that China, for example, just bought 1 million tons of cashew nuts from Kenya because American traders indirectly executed the trade. They can see the contracts because the American banks are obliged to document all transactions of all trades before they are executed. In short, they created the contracts and placed them on their own exchanges, making it possible for American traders to see the prices which are being updated in real time on their screens. Now the BRICS countries have the technology to build their own systems too. They can now buy and sell directly without US dollars, without Western banks, and without going through commodities traders or transfers, or through exchanges in New York or London or Frankfurt, for example. So as all the business and this global trade moves towards the new BRICS trading systems, American traders won't see the prices anymore. They won't see the real global demand, nor know where the supply is coming from to satisfy the demand. They will be flying blind because the information feedback loops that they built into their systems are gone. This is now transformed global trade to a non-US dollar denominated system outside SWIFT and with immediate settlement. What has always been assumed that the United States is the breadbasket to Europe and to big chunks of the Northern Hemisphere is turning out to be a delusion now. American farmers can feed the whole world, is what they said. Now, as it turns out, they can't even feed themselves. Americans are importing more in 2024 than what they are exporting. As outlined by the American Farm Bureau Federation, America crossed the line 5 years ago and are now diverging very fast. They are worried commodity prices are falling for US corn and soybeans, which went down 30% in 2 months in just 1 year, when exports have not risen. You would expect that fallen prices would stimulate global demand, but not this time. For the first time in early 2024, China set off the alarm bells when they cancelled huge wheat orders from the US and Australia. China started by cancelling an order of 240,000 tons of US soft wheat, then reverted the following week to cancel another order of 264,000 tons. China called up Australia and cancelled 1 million tons from there too. The cancellation was the biggest ever, and Bloomberg told us the obvious, that China found cheaper wheat from somewhere else. Farmers spend a lot of money for Bloomberg to tell them what's going on. But Bloomberg didn't know either. Where China bought 1.5 million tons of wheat to replace their cancelled purchase from the US and Australia, they didn't know. and neither do the farmers who rely on Chicago grains analysts, for example, or on Bloomberg to tell them what went wrong. The fact is, China had a near record harvest. Russia and Brazil stepped up their exports, but it was outside the American system. Bloomberg is now scrambling and trying to figure out things. What this means for American companies in a nutshell is American bankers are trying to do business in the real world but don't know what the prices are anymore. The BRICS countries are doing giant volumes of business now outside of American systems and without the American dollar. This is a billion-dollar problem for American banks that makes risk-free profits every year just processing trades. Was it because American banks were the best? No, they were not. But this is why. For over 80 years, practically after the Second World War, America had a system that the world had to use because the technology wasn't available for other countries to use it any other way. The world was actually forced to accept the system or nothing at all. Now the technology is here. Countries are learning and are improving their own systems. We have distributed ledgers through central banks. We have digital currencies. We have immediate cross-border settlements at zero cost, and so on and so on. It is here that the BRICS countries are building a new system and they are almost finished, which means that the American system is also almost finished too. So what do you think? Is the multipolar world gradually taking a good shape thanks to BRICS? Or the world should continue following the unipolar selfish American system? Well, kindly write your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.